Sometime in the future, there's a boy named Jack. Jack is very poor, and his father's dead. His father died in a war 10 years ago. Jack's 14 years old and a regular-sized kid. He works in a machine shop as an errand runner. He's paid very poorly, but any amount of money helps his mother. His mother's a waitress at the local truck stop. Jack continues to work to the bone because he needs to make money to feed his mother. Jack's not very book smart. To be blunt, he's not book smart in any capacity. He even quit school at the age of 7 just to take various jobs around the town. While Jack was little, he acquired a skill from a friend of his named Luis. Jack and Luis are sitting in an alley that leads to a parking garage outside of a very large and intimidating corporate office. Luis whispers, "Wait here. The same guy comes through here every day. I grab something all the time." Jack is visibly nervous and has now broken into a sweat. Luis looks at him and exclaims, "What's wrong with you? You look like you're going to be sick." Jack replies, "I'm just a little nervous, that's all." Finally, a very tall man in a business suit walks out of the building. He's talking into his cell phone. Luis creeps up behind him, as if he were the man's shadow. Luis throws himself at the man and bumps into him. "I'm so sorry," exclaimed Luis. "Oh, I twisted my ankle. I apologize." Luis puts on a sad face of remorse. The man replies, "It's okay. Are you alright?" Luis replies, "Yeah, I'll be okay." The man walks away. Luis turns around and gives Jack a wink. They both run away as quickly as possible. The man in the suit gets into his vehicle. He reaches into his pocket and doesn't feel the money he had in there before. He thinks to himself, "I had $240 in my pocket, and it's gone? Where could it have... That kid!" He turns around, but they are long gone. Now being 14, and very experienced, Jack is very good at picking pockets. He heads home from work and walks into his house. His mother is laying on the couch. Jack, noticing she looks pale, exclaims, "Mother, do you feel okay?" She responds in a very weak and timid voice, "Something's wrong with me, Jack. I don't know what it is, though." So Jack and his mother head to their neighbor, who's a doctor. Jack knocks on the door, and the doctor welcomes them. Come in, what brings you here?" Jack replied coldly, "I think my mother is sick." The doctor, looking very sad, "Okay, I'll check her over and give you the results, okay?" Jack then asked the price. The doctor replied, "Don't you worry about it. It's for a friend." Jack smiled and thanked him. The test came back. The doctor exclaimed, "Jack, it doesn't look good. I believe she has a very aggressive form of cancer. I can get her in for surgery, but it will be extremely expensive. Without it, though, I don't believe she'll live much longer." Jack looked as if he was turning green. "How much?" he asked. "For you, Jack, I believe you'd have to find a secret treasure to pay it off," coldly replied the doctor. Jack and his mother went home, and on the walk home Jack was silent. Not out of fear or sorrow, because he was scheming of how to pull this off. In his time as a pickpocket, he had been to the richest parts of town. His best area of pickings happened to be the scientific laboratory. Science and mechanics are two of the largest areas of wealth, so Jack went where he knew he could steal nice things. Well, on his first time, he had heard of a new discovery. Scientists had figured out the key to interdimensional travel, also known as teleportation to other parts of the universe. Jack plotted and planned for 3 straight days, thinking of possible ways he could sneak into the laboratory. Finally, on one rainy night, he snuck into the lab through a door that a janitor left open. He was sneaking around the facility, looking for the room which holds the teleporter. Finally, he came to a room with a heavy lock. Jack picked it with ease. He whispered to himself, "Too easy." He proceeded to enter the room. The teleporter wasn't hidden at all. It shone very brightly in the dark room. Jack went up to the machine. He gasped, "It's so shiny. How do I start it?" He began to do what anyone would do to start a piece of machinery that they were unsure of how to work. He just started pressing buttons. All of a sudden, the machine began lighting up and making a sound. Jack stepped back, and looked into the portal and saw a castle in the vanity. He stepped towards it, and then he began to get pulled into the image. Then with a flash, he was standing in the courtyard of a great castle. He looked into the sky and saw the sky was a shade of darker red. Jack took a step back and shook his head. Where in the galaxy am I? So he decided to walk up to the castle, in whose courtyard he was standing in. He snuck inside the castle and decided to go look around. He thought to himself, who lives in this thing? This place is huge. Finally, opening up a very large metal door, he saw a sight that he had never saw in his entire dreams. Gold bars stacked up all over the floor. Jack thought to himself, one of these could pay for my mom's procedure. So Jack grabbed 3 of the bars and decided to run out the front door. As he ran out, the ugliest looking creature he had ever seen slithered out in front of him. The creature was at least 16 feet tall and had arms and the tail of a very large snake. Jack ran into a room, which just happened to be the weaponry. He picked up the most regular looking weapon, which looked to be a bow, although it looked much different from the bows on Earth. It had a computer screen and a button trigger. There was only one problem. It only had 3 arrows. Jack thought to himself, I'll really have to make these shots count. Jack shot 1 arrow and it hit the large monster below his chest armor. Suddenly the bow's computer screen showed a picture of a serpent's body heat image. Jack hit the fire button and the last 2 arrows were sent immediately into the serpent's eyes. While the serpent was blinded, Jack ran out and down the stairs. Suddenly the whole castle's guard was chasing after him. Jack frantically started hitting buttons on the teleporter. And finally the portal opened. Jack ran through it and he was back in the laboratory. He brought a gold bar to the doctor and said slyly, what was that you were saying about treasure? The doctor, looking up, said nothing, took 1 of the bars and proceeded to take Jack's mother to the emergency room. Jack's mother made it out of surgery and recovered 100%. Jack took the gold to the science lab. There, they were researched, and Jack and his mother were paid billions for finding the first discovery of space gold. They lived happily ever after with their billions, and Jack helped other homeless and poor boys that he knew around the area.